Now it's time for which we all are waiting long to listen Padma Bhushan Dr. R.S.Paroda ji, who is the chief guest of today's function. I request Paroda sir for the concluding remarks.
First of all, it's a matter of personal privilege for me to be here today, and for which I'm grateful to the organizers, Dr. Indramani, Dr. H.S. Gupta, and all other associated colleagues who worked hard to make this Congress a success. Everything we organize should come to an end. And as I was said, that people in such large number in the plenary session speaks volumes in terms of success of this Congress. Thank you to you all. Without you, because this is for not for us or those who have organized, this is for those who have to really work in the field and take this flag higher. Having said this, I would like to just be brief because we all have to go and catch flight. But let me say as brief as possible few important points, and as I see there are 10 points in my list. One is that we need enabling policy environment for support to seed sector. And for this policy environment, we must look at the regulatory systems that are available and how they are affecting the growth of the seed sector and what more can be done to revise them. So the Revised Seed Act in the Parliament, waiting for long, must be our priority in terms of request for its implementation or its approval, because it is necessary. If Seed Act was not there, we would have not grown to this level. And if there are certain requirements for revision, it should not take 50 years. So that's one issue. Second is that we need to look at growth of the seed sector in terms of involvement of stakeholders, and it has been realized, and it also came up very clearly today, that you need partnership for development of seed. And seed must reach to end user. It is not for those who evolve them and just feel proud to get their own achievements in terms of elevation in their career, but if they don't reach to the end user, there is no point of that kind of effort. And for that, the partnership with the stakeholders becomes very important. And how can that partnership be strengthened, whether through private sector, whether through farmer sector, or whether through NGOs, has to be also critically looked at on priority basis. We have been talking about it, and this talk will continue and keep on going unless we take some concrete action and decide what action is required. So that's another point. The other point relating to this also is that we now have to look at very clearly how can we make farmer first in the seed development initiative. And they should not be only on receiving end, but they should be leaders for contributing. They should not only be buying seed and producing it for increasing their yield, but they should be producing it for export, not only for internal use. Fortunately, India, we have robust internal market. So whatever you produce, still much is required to be produced. I'll come to it later. But we must now be looking ahead and take full advantage of globalization, and sky is the limit in terms of export, because we have the best climate, all kinds of climatic conditions we have, and we have institutions now in place, best human resource also. So there is an opportunity, and what could that be? And this is linked to one of my other recommendation is that we should have now clearly a roadmap for seed sector in India through a white paper, which possibly the Indian Society of Seed Science and Technology, by having a group of experts, and ministry should also be partner in it, because ultimately it is required. What would be after, say, another 20 years or 49 to 2047 is being talked about. So after 100 years of our independence, what should be the role and expectations, and what is our direction? The other aspect is that we have to also revisit our Plant Variety Protection and Farmers' Right Act. And in that particularly, we also have to accelerate our process for registration of extant varieties. And unfortunately, that part has taken long, 20 years. I have been talking on all platforms, talking to all chairmen of the authority, even to the Secretaries of Agriculture and Director General ICR, that what is stopping to register all those which we had notified through Gazette, government Gazette system and seed notification system, that they cannot be registered in your act. And if you don't register them, then how can you claim that they are your varieties in future? Others may take them. So this is in the national interest. We should be very clear and must act as quickly as possible and overcome if there are procedural requirements. And in one stroke register, you are registering more varieties which are bred by private sector. You are registering more varieties which are farmers' varieties, about whom many of whom we do not know and do not have DUS. And here you have everything available in your record in the government, and still they are not registered. So I think this point should draw attention. And maybe as I was mentioning, that we initiated and we thought that we would like to have a National Research Center on DNA fingerprinting, and we established out of those 20-30 institutions which were created during that time, including this Institute on Seed Science. So we definitely have to think as to whether we are in right direction, whether DUS for all important crops are available and they are being put in practice, and guidelines are available, and so on and so forth. The other point is that we need to strengthen and have interinstitutional partnership for seed sector development, because most of the universities have seed technology division now. We have ICR Institute on seed technology. We have coordinated centers on seed technology. And there is also, I think, an institute on seed supported by the Ministry of Agriculture. So is there any platform where they meet and they discuss and deliberate further? And if not, then probably the society should play this facilitator's role and bring in partnership in that context. So interinstitutional partnership and effort on human resource development, which are the areas in which we need to have more advanced technologies and training of our young scientists, because this is critical if we have to be globally competitive. Many times we think we are best and we don't need anything, but I think that's not the approach we should adopt. The other point is how you involve youth now in seed development. Youth to be the private extension agent, youth to be input provider, whether it is seed or whether it is seedlings, youth to be also entrepreneur, like FPOs or whatever, or independent entrepreneurs. So there is tremendous potential and scope, and we have to therefore motivate youth in agriculture to play their role for seed sector development. The other point I have is on role of the society. The society should be an agent for policy advocacy, for public awareness. Public awareness is very important, and this point came up for a lot of, emphasis was there. And we have to emphasize this, particularly to tell farmer, even if they are growing varieties, they are happy to use their own seed because they don't have to invest. So 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, but they have to be educated that it is not good to even use your own seed. You must replace. So seed replacement ratio is a bigger challenge, and in many crops it is very low. Even in hybrids it is, we laid all emphasis on hybrid maize, single cross hybrids, started hybrid research program, got our first hybrid in maize for single cross, QPM hybrid, we got hybrid rice. But hybrid rice, how much area? After 20 years of effort, we had the first hybrid in around 2000, and in 20 years it is not more than 3 million hectare area. We have 44 million hectare area under rice in India. And China at that time, when we started it, and I had to then request the father of hybrid rice to come and train my scientists in India at my cost, at ICR cost, that you come and train, you will not give us the material. I don't want your material, but to come and train our scientists in hybrid research. And that's how first hybrid came in 2000. But in 20 years, only 3 million hectare area. There is a concern. Even in case of maize, when we talk to private sectors, they said you need protection because in single cross, sir, the privacy is not there to that extent. So we need a Plant Bidders Right Act in India. So we brought in 5 years' time Plant Bidders Right Act, because unless you do these, the things will not progress. Then they all came up, and in 10 years' time, from 2000 to 2010, we doubled our maize production. It never went before above 1 ton per hectare in productivity, and it never exceeded 10 million tons. And today, in maize, in now 25 years, it is 35 million hectare, 35 million tons. But then coverage under hybrid maize is only 60%. Why can't I make it 90% or 100%? Who stops me? And who is going to produce it? From where it will come? So are we going to just wait for things to happen at their own, or do we have to accelerate the process through proper efforts at the national level? So this is another issue. Also, role of IST to organize these kinds of conferences more frequently, and I would recommend that we have one international congress on seed technology and development. Also, I would like to request that history of seed development in India be written somewhere. we will be missing it. We will be missing it. Who did what? किसने क्या किया? वो in the whole world, you will not find an example of policy support for import of bulk quantity of seed, which was maximum in India of 18,000 tons, which led to green revolution in India. अगर वो 18,000 टन उस टाइम में नहीं आता तो हिंदुस्तान की हरित क्रांति नहीं हो सकती थी. और डॉक्टर बॉर्लॉग से जब सुनते थे हम स्टोरी के वो 6 महीने में 18,000 टन उन्होंने कहाँ से कलेक्ट करके और जो शिप में लोड किया, हाउ डिफ़िकल्ट वाज इट एंड हाउ NSC टीम एंड आवर कोऑर्डिनेटर्स दैट टाइम, कोहली एंड अदर्स, दे हैड गॉन एंड इंस्पेक्टेड the fields in Mexico and then brought that seed in India. Things would not have happened, but how many of us know about it? I mean, the point is this: the history, therefore, will be forgotten if it is not written, and not written by those who know. Like, Santanamji, you are here. You wrote a history of National Seed Corporation. Another, if we didn't have National Seed Corporation at that time, probably that Green Revolution also would have not happened. Now NSC requires a lot of improvement is another issue. That is a separate point. But at certain times, certain institutions were critical, required, and thanks to policymakers that they created them and they were there and they played their role. So it was not only just by getting the, few seeds of the wheat and rice, but then it was the effort at the national level by our own system. Having said this, I would like to say that time is now ripe. Finally, I would say how happy I am to be a part of this initiative. I would say, and I would also compliment the ministry for supporting to organize, because sometimes we say, why should we say? Now the government is saying, why Indian Science Congress should be supported. So the support to Indian Science Congress has been withdrawn. The support to academies, ENSA, National Academy, this is all being withdrawn. So if these kinds of supports are not there, we cannot come and talk and have a platform. So this should be possibly also told to the policymaker, please don't do this. And I hope this kind of effort will continue, and this baton of organizing the National Seed Congress would continue. And thank to you, Dr. Indramani, for having done the job so well. So let's give him a big hand. And also let's thank Dr. H.S. Gupta, the new president for the Indian Seed Science Technology. Please revive this. This association has slowed down over a few years after Malvika ji left presidency. So now is the time to just make its impact and presence known. Thank you very much for this opportunity.